into fights? Why is it that when a group of people get together, there's usually something to fight about? The fights may be big or so small no one else notices, but it seems like everyone gets into conflicts with other people. And these conflicts can be especially noticeable when people are put together in a classroom. Why do conflicts occur? Why can't everyone just get along? Because everyone's different. And different people have different opinions and perspectives on everything. So like it or not, they get into conflicts. Conflicts don't have to be bad, but if you don't know how to argue effectively and fight fairly, conflicts can really cause problems. In this program, we'll talk about fights in the classroom. The classroom is a place to learn, a place to ask questions, and a place to develop. But it's also a place where you can learn to get along with lots of different types of people. A big part of getting along with others in class is learning how to solve the conflicts that come up. Solving classroom conflicts is a skill that will enable you to get along with others in every part of your life. Let's begin.
Resolving classroom conflicts. Wouldn't it be wonderful if life were completely without arguments, if we all agreed about everything from beginning to end? It's not like that. It's only human to get into arguments from time to time. Everyone has individual opinions. You're not the only one. And if you don't share those opinions, it's easy to often end up in an argument. To keep from losing a friend in an argument, there's a basic rule to remember. You have to argue fairly. Also, when you argue, you have to have a good purpose in mind. There's no point in having an argument simply for the sake of the disagreement. The purpose has to be to settle the argument, find a mutually acceptable solution. You're not there to score points. You're there to find a way that works for both of you. It isn't important who started the argument or whose point of view is at stake. What is important is to have a clear idea of what it is you're really differing about. Getting into disagreements from time to time is all part of being human. Can't escape life without those situations. Everyone has an individual opinion, and sometimes you don't share the same opinion, even with someone you really like. You have the right to talk about it, to get it out in the open. Of course, that can also sometimes go further than you would expect. It can turn into an argument, even a fight. But arguments, you know, can actually be good. Sometimes they can be really positive forces. Often, an argument in a friendly fashion, but an argument can be the best and only way to resolve a significant problem. Of course, arguments are not always fun. In fact, arguments can be a really trying, difficult experience. But if what you're arguing about is important to you, then the argument should not be avoided either. Rule number 1, be fair. Sometimes it's easier to say than it is to do, but be fair. That means no name calling, no using bad manners. Try to be polite. Try to provide the kind of behavior you want from the person you're arguing with. The purpose of an argument is to settle a difference of opinion, not to insult each other. After all, you want to have a relationship to go back to when the argument is over. Rule number 2, know exactly what it is you're upset about. Tell the other person what has upset you. Say it calmly, say it clearly, say it directly, and don't be hostile about it. Ask the other person if he or she understands what it is you're really trying to communicate. After all, you can't solve an argument if you don't know what you're fighting about. Rule number 3, stick to a single subject. Keeping on track is nothing to sneeze at. Don't stray off to other topics. If you're arguing over whose turn it is to do something, don't bring up an old argument from a week ago. Rule number 4, be honest about your feelings. But while you're doing that, remember the person you're talking with or arguing with has feelings too, so don't be hostile. Feelings are just as important as facts. The more honest you are, the better the chances of solving the argument fairly. Rule number 5. Even though you should be honest about your feelings, try not to let them get in the way of the facts. The facts should be supreme. It's never a good idea to let your emotions get out of control. That can ruin the argument. Emotions can be useful, but not if they're counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish. Rule number 6. Listen. That sounds simpler than it is. Listen to what the other person is saying. What is the other person really saying? What does the other person really mean? You know, half the time arguments occur because one person has simply misunderstood the other. What we have here, as they say, is a failure to communicate. Be clear, be honest, be open. Listen to the other person. Rule number 7. Once the argument is settled, close the book on it. That chapter is done. Don't come back to it later and begin it all over again. Chances are you won't find as good a solution as you had the first time. Rule number 8. Learn from the experience. Once the argument is over, try to understand what caused your negative feelings to begin with and why. Learn from the entire process so you can avoid the problem the next time it may arise. Compromise, an important part of settling conflicts. More than likely, you already know what it means to compromise. It means to come to an agreement that both you and the person you're disagreeing with are comfortable with. A compromise is something that gives each of you a positive outcome. You know, compromise is the first skill that you have to learn if you want to be able to settle disagreements with people. It's simple. Instead of pushing to get everything you want at the expense of the other person, each of you has to discuss what you want. You have to give in on some points. You have to leave the argument feeling you've gotten enough to make yourself happy, and you have to give the other person exactly the same thing. So instead of arguing, think of all the different solutions there can be to the problem you're facing. As long as each of you wants to work out a compromise, hey, compromise is right around the corner. Each of us has the right to negotiate. Each of us has the right not to be taken advantage of. You can't expect other people always to be fair to make it easy for you. They aren't likely to do that. Sometimes you have to work to make sure you get what you really need. Are you ready to start negotiating in your own life? There are issues every day, large and small. Issues that need to be negotiated, that need to be compromised. Compromising has nothing to do with who's bigger or smarter or more popular. It has to do with two people, sometimes more than two people, working to come to a positive arrangement that satisfies all persons' needs. Sometimes it's possible to find a middle ground, even when you don't completely agree with friends.
Hey, wait a minute, you guys. Wait, cut this. Wait. The obvious solution is that we're going to have to compromise, all right? So I say, why don't we just maybe go
is a helpful tool.
that has a movie theater in it, and then we can all get what we want.
Stand up for yourself in a conflict. If you're confused about how to stand up for yourself to make it really work, you're not alone. Almost everyone has the same problem. Many people have a particularly hard time trying to stand up for themselves. But you have a right to be treated fairly by others. You have a right, even an obligation, to stand up for yourself. Here are some tips on how to do just exactly that. Try to act in your own best interest. That means that when you decide to do something, you're doing it because you have decided to, not because others have pressured you into doing it. Stand up for your opinions. If you have an opinion, speak up. You have just as much right to your opinion as anyone else does. Try to talk about your feelings openly. Don't be afraid to say what you actually feel. Know your rights. Know what you have a right to do. So when someone else is being unfair, you'll know it and know how to take steps to deal with it. But at the same time, be sure to respect the rights of others. Their rights are every bit as important as yours, but not more important. The only way to expect fair treatment from others is to be sure you treat others fairly yourself. Good manners, the best way to prevent a conflict. Your friends expect you to behave nicely and properly with them. You want the same from your friends. So what can you do to show good manners and be a better friend? Begin by listening. Bet you never thought of it, but friends listen to what friends have to say. When you talk to a friend, you expect that friend to listen to you. Same thing applies in reverse. When the friend talks to you, they expect you to listen. Listening means being there when your friend is going through a bad time and helping. Listening sometimes means being a shoulder to cry on if that's what your friend needs. Other times, it can mean simply giving encouragement, using your own positive attitudes to reinforce the positive attitudes in a friend. Try to share. If someone shares with you or lends you something, you have to return it in good condition. That's good manners. It's also a way of showing your respect for a friend. Care. Friends are interested in what happens to other friends. If something good happens, a friend cares enough to be happy for the friend. If something bad happens, you want to do your best to try to make your friend feel better. Be understanding. We all get into bad moods from time to time. No one escapes that. But friends, real friends, understand you can't always be nice to each other all the time. Friends understand and accept that. Be open. You know, being totally honest with your friends can make life a little nervous sometimes. Feelings are very private. Sometimes it's risky to expose them. Putting them out in the open isn't easy, but it's the only way to grow closer with your real friends. And don't gossip. You wouldn't want to be the subject of gossip, so try to avoid it in terms of discussing other people. Good manners. No one wants to open up to someone who talks about their secrets when they're not around. A secret is supposed to be just that, something you're told in confidence. If you gossip to your friends about someone else, it shows your friends that you really can't be trusted all the time. Those who gossip don't make good friends. So try not to gossip. Respect other people's secrets. Chances are they'll do the same and respect yours. Don't brag. You know, bragging can hurt a friend's feelings, and you don't want to hurt your friend's feelings. Friends share good times with each other, and it is okay to tell friends when you've done something well. But bragging is another matter. It's going too far. It's when you continue to talk about yourself far too much. No one likes to hear a friend brag. You don't want to hear your friends brag. They don't want to hear you brag either. Think about apologizing when there's a reason for doing so. You know, saying I'm sorry can go a long way toward building a lasting friendship.
Are you all right?
We all make mistakes, and more than occasionally. But when a friend hurts another friend, that friend should be ready to say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'll try not to do that the next time. Sometimes it can be hard to apologize. Apologizing, though, is very important when it comes to staying friends. When was the last time someone did something wrong to you? Did that person apologize? Share your feelings. Telling each other how you feel is a big part of being friends, staying friends. Imagine what it would be like if you and your friends never talked about your feelings together. You all share a lot of the same experiences in life. It helps to have other people to share your feelings with. Sometimes it's difficult to really know how you feel until you've told somebody else. Telling somebody else makes more clear how you really feel. Knowing how you feel is just as important as knowing what you think about various things. So talk to your friends about your feelings. You'll not only feel better, it'll make you better friends. Be honest. Being completely honest, even with your closest friends, might at the start make you a little bit nervous. After all, it's not easy putting your feelings right out there on the line. But this is what being open is all about. You'll find it's a lot easier to grow as a friend, to have a friendship increase in value with someone who lets you know what's going on inside their head, how they really feel, how they think, what their opinions are, what's genuinely important to them. Honesty is one of the most valuable things that you can share with someone you like, that you can share with a friend. Friends share ideas with each other that they might not share with anyone else in the entire world, not even with members of their own family. Hey, that's what friends are for.
In this program, we talked about ways to solve conflicts in the classroom. The classroom is a place to learn, a place to ask questions, and a place to grow. But it's also a place where you can learn to get along with many different types of people. And a big part of getting along with others is learning how to solve conflicts and differences. Almost every day, there are fights in your classroom, large and small. If you're honest, polite, and try to come to a compromise, you can solve any disagreement that comes along. You deserve to be treated fairly, and you deserve to learn how to settle classroom conflicts.